Hi, and good morning to everybody, or at least good morning, depending on the time zone. Uh, Science fiction spends some of its time talking about what's really going to happen in the future, or what science fiction writers think is going to happen in the future, but a lot more time about using science fiction as a platform to comment on the present and the past. Now, I took a look at this, and rather than go through every single science fiction book in my collection, and by the way, the slide is not advancing. There we go. All right, now we go. Now, traditionally, throughout the vast majority of humanity's time on Earth, the biggest employer has been agriculture. People have also worked in crafts, entertainment. There have been thinkers, religious folks, and that's the pre-industrial world. As we move from pre-industrial into the more modern world, we have the huge transitions of the Industrial Revolution, when the world went from primarily agriculture-based to primarily manufacturing-based. And this was a hugely disrupting period. And although technically science fiction dates back to the ancient Greek writer Lucian of Samosata, who first pioneered robots, uh, science fiction in anything approaching its modern form really is a child of the latter years of the 19th century, during this period of huge disruption. And a lot of the comments of the future of work really deal with the trends that were taking place at that time. Service industries have become larger. Technology now employs more people than anything else. The military is a major employer rather than citizen armies brought together for brief periods. And of course, government. Now, the speed of disruption, as we know, has been uh, increasing logarithmically. Knowledge roughly doubled between the beginning of the Common Era and 1,000 years after the birth of Christ. Today, we're getting a doubling of knowledge every 18 months. The chart, which courtesy of Ray Kurzweil, who's done a lot of the work on the singularity, talks about how many years it took to adapt new technology and new information. The web took fewer than 10 years, whereas the telephone took almost 50 years from its invention to mass use. We are changing faster than ever before. Now, as I looked through my science fiction collection, I found that there were 5 rough categories of ways that science fiction has looked at work in the future. The first is the world of forced labor. As I said, the commentary on the Industrial Revolution and the great social changes that were happening at that time, sort of embodied in Workers of the Cavernous Underworld Unite. There's enhanced people. We work in the future by modifying ourselves, either by combining ourselves with machines, biological modifications, all of the various ways people are enhanced, including artificial people like robots. Cyber, the direct interface of person and IT. William Gibson in Neuromancer is one of the big originators of that, though you can also see roots in Samuel Delaney's Nova and many other things, the direct interface of the human brain with IT. Now, of course, many of the jobs in the future, according to science fiction, are the same old, same old. They're construction workers and police officers and engineers and pilots, only in outer space. And of course, the last idea of the future of work is, well, maybe we don't have any. Maybe we go to a transition to a post-work world. And for those of us staying at home right at the moment, this has its temptations. Now, forced labor and oppression, has been a constant theme, and it really begins most strongly in Fritz Lang's 1927 silent film Metropolis, in which the cavernous underworlds are filled with laborers toiling for the overclass sitting in their high skyscrapers until finally, revolution and destruction. And this even goes as late as The Time Machine, George Pal's version of H.G. Wells's time travel novel, not that it has much to do with H.G. Wells, in which the Eloi, the descendants of the upper class are now a complete leisure society who've lost all intellectual capacity, whereas the old workers of the underworld have now turned into the sinister Morlocks. And I always think it's sort of interesting to look at this and realize that, future stories are more dystopian, about negative futures rather than utopian, because let's face it, there's not a lot of story to tell when everything's perfect. But I also like to point out that in 1927, in Metropolis, the oppressed workers heroically rise up to demand freedom. And in the 1960 film, oppressed workers rise up and literally eat the rich. Now, enhanced people, robot comes into the play about here. The first use of the word robot appears in a play by Karel Capek, RUR, Rossum's Universal Robots, and you can see in the picture there the sort of formally posed robots. Exactly whether they were humans or machines or what their relationship is generally not too clear, although they do rise up and take over the world. Now, this brings up something that I should point out, which is I always like to get our vocabulary straight. What's a robot? Well, there are three terms that we use. The word robot is actually, thanks to RUR, is actually the Czech word for worker. And so Rossum's Universal Robots, Rossum's Universal Workers. A robot is any machine that can be programmed or taught to perform work. And you see those things on assembly lines, the robots that are essentially one giant mechanical arm, articulated arm that can go and do various mechanical things. That's a robot. An android, the name actually literally means man-like, is one that's human-shaped. So notice that R2-D2 is a robot, a mechanical worker, not particularly man-shaped or human-shaped, whereas C-3PO is an android, also a robot, but man-shaped. And of course, the third, cyborg or cybernetic organism, is any being that has both mechanical and biological components mixed together, as in the case of the $6 Million Man. Let's look at enhanced people. One of the things I mentioned in my biography is one of my, the people I...
Hi there, I hope you enjoyed that last clip. My name is Michael Malutis, and if you'd like to watch the full 60 minutes of that last webcast, while also gaining complete unlimited access to our entire library of IT learning, simply visit our subscribe page at greatpro.org/subscribe. Unlimited annual access is $199 per year, but if you use the coupon code LEARN2EARN, you can drop that membership fee to just $149. That's less than $13 per month for unlimited access to over 1,000 hours of on-demand career development, covering the entire spectrum of IT management best practices, including business analysis and requirements, software development, quality and testing, risk management, process improvement, project management, and even digital transformation. But your membership doesn't just give you unlimited access to our vast learning library. You also get free access to our mobile app, as well as direct access to our network of over 300 of the world's leading IT consultants, all of whom are dedicated to putting practical knowledge at your fingertips so that you can learn more and earn more. I hope you will join me in becoming a member of the Great IT Professional and advancing your career with us. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button above so that you get notified whenever we publish new free webcasts each week of the year. Thank you for your time and best wishes for your continued success.